Welcome, geeks and nerds, girls and boys, to a brand new episode of Geek to Me Radio. Tonight, we have Eisner Award-nominated writer Jim Ousley coming to us live from the San Diego Comic-Con show floor. He'll tell us what he saw at the event. We'll talk a little bit about some of the coverage that they've had this weekend. After that, Joey B is going to review The Dink, now available on Apple TV. Plus, I'm giving away 2 tickets to see Superman. Stand by.
We're talking TV, comics and movies, and video games. And if you don't know Star Trek from Star Wars, we'll try to explain. There are 12 doctors for Hogwarts houses, 1 ring rules them all. To be the greatest Pokemon master, you must catch them all. You must catch them all. Try to catch them all. Gotta catch them all. Gotta catch them all.
If you're driving around the greater St. Louis area listening to us on the Big 550 KTRS, hello to all of you. Thank you very much for tuning in. If you're streaming us on YouTube and Facebook, hello. Thanks for watching tonight. If you're hearing us after the fact in the podcast form, thank you for finding us, and hopefully you subscribed. And if you're hearing us after the fact, we do appreciate if you could leave us a 5-star review on whatever podcast platform it is you're listening to us. That helps us out with search engine optimization. It's a free way to support the show, so please do that. We have a full show. We're going to jump right to it. Live from San Diego Comic-Con on the show floor, Eisner Award-nominated writer. He's been a guest here several times. You know him from The Atonement Bell, Butcher Queen, The Rough and Tumble, and more beloved favorites. Jim Ousley, how are you?
Hey, man, how's it going? It's great to talk to you.
Thank you for doing this. It's great to talk to you always. I've seen your pictures. If you're not following Jim Ousley on social media, you need to, because he's always shows these great pictures of people with his book that they've just bought off his table, and he does great self-promotion, and of course he's a fantastically talented writer as well, and I've loved seeing your coverage from this weekend. Seems like you've had a blast.
Oh, thank you, man. Yeah, it was so much fun. I mean, I'm there with Red 5 Comics, working and talking about the books and signing books, and it's a lot of work, but it's so much fun because I feel like at San Diego Comic-Con, there's, everybody under the sun. There's every race, every creed, whatever, all kinds of people, and they're all in love with the same thing, and that's comics. And I came away with it thinking, I always come away with it thinking, this is the way the world should be. The world should be like San Diego Comic-Con, where everybody gets along and everybody's happy,
Yeah, I agree. So obviously you killed it out there. You're out there promoting your newest work, and it seems like everyone's buying your other stuff. How many people do you recognize? People come back and say, oh, I remember you from last year, and I bought Butcher Queen. Now I'm here to do this. Have you seen it, or is it a lot of new people? Because you're very engaging, you talk with people. What's been the split that you've seen?
Oh, my gosh. I had a lot of people, come back from last year and the year before this today. I love the Atonement Bell. I love Butcher Queen. What else do you have now? What do you have coming up? And that always feels really good because they remember you, right? It's like you made something that made them happy and that entertained them, and that's awesome. So, yeah, they came by, and we had a lot of, it's always a ton of new people. That's the crazy thing is, you do see some familiar faces, but there's always a huge amount of new people that you see and new friends that you make. So it's always an adventure.
So one of the things I wanted to ask you about, I'm seeing a lot of this on Threads specifically. I keep seeing the phrase that San Diego Comic-Con this year is an indicator of, or it's a recession indicator, because they say, and the people on Threads are saying people haven't been spending as much. They don't see as people weighed down with bags of stuff like they're going to. It seems like some of the restaurants weren't as crowded. What's your thought? Is this something that maybe just in pockets of the con? Are you seeing it seems like business as usual?
It's hard to say because, the restaurants that we went to were like they always were, and I did see a lot of people carrying a lot of big bags with lots of big boxes. So it's hard to say. I mean, we did really great at our booth, about the same as last year.
Good.
There's no doubt that the economy is different now, but it's hard for me to tell because I'm just, most of the time at my booth, talking to people and, talking about the books and signing stuff. And so I didn't really see that as much. I mean, for me, it was another San Diego Comic-Con, and it was just a lot of fun. I didn't really see the recession indicators.
Okay, good.
Yeah, so it was. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure some people felt that way, but yeah, all the offsite stuff was packed, and yeah.
As a fan myself, I'm sure it would be difficult for me to be behind a table and not go out and experience it. Were there anything that you made sure, I want to make sure I'm at that Avengers Doomsday panel, I want to make sure I'm here for this? Were you able to get out and enjoy it other than just being there to promote your upcoming book, Red 5 Comics, and everything like that?
Oh, yeah. So a couple of things. I'm always outside of our table, so I don't like to sit behind the table there. I like to get out there and just talk to people and start conversations and, whatever. So I'm always in the front. But, yeah, I usually get there really early before doors open and scope out the place and check everything out. So I have plenty of time to do that. And I do, get away from the table and check things out. And I don't usually go to panels. Mm-hmm. I did moderate a panel this year.
Yes,
it was the Devils and Dreamscapes panel, How Horror Comics Changed the Way We See the World. And that went great.
Good.
It was a lot of fun. We had a really good audience and a lot of great questions and good panelists, and it was fantastic. And it was also fun to promote my upcoming series, The Agony of Stars, which comes out in November. A lot of people loved what I had to say about that, and it was great to get the word out about The Agony of Stars too.
Yeah, and the Kickstarter for that has ended now. You made your goals. You surpassed that, because I know we had you on this show to talk about it. I ran into at Bugs Comics and Games. You were set up there to kind of promote that and sell some of your other stuff. So I'm glad. If people missed out, though, is there still a chance for people to get on the Kickstarter is open if they want to continue to tribute, or how would they be able to get a hold of that before it comes out?
You know what? The best thing to do probably is follow me on social media, mm-hmm. and I'll always say, hey, I'll have some books here ahead of time, and like I might have the book at Slice in October for people that didn't get a chance to back it. But yeah, I'll keep everybody posted on social media and definitely let you know if you can get it early.
And we'll have, if you're listening to this after the fact in the show notes, we'll have links to Jim's social media handles in the show notes. But for people who are listening right now, what's the best social media handle as far as where you're active, and where would they how would they find you with the name of the handle and everything like that? Yeah,
I'm on Facebook, X, or Twitter, as I like to call it, and Blue Sky as @Jim Ousley. And on Instagram and Threads, I'm @radio_Jimbo.
Perfect. And I know you said you're hungry. I don't want to keep you any longer. I appreciate you jumping on the air. Your final thoughts, if you had the biggest takeaway from San Diego Comic-Con this year, what would that be?
I love comics, and a lot of other people do too, and it's great to be in this community.
Perfect. That's very succinct and well said. Jim Ousley, thanks for your time. Safe flight home. We'll talk to you soon.
James, I've got to get you out to San Diego Comic-Con. I really want to do that. That's my next mission. One
of these days, I will ignore my agoraphobia, and I will undertake that task, I'm sure. But I'd love that.
Buddy.
Thanks very
I'll
much.
Talk to you soon.
Take care.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
There he goes, Jim Ousley. Like I said, Red 5 Comics. If you haven't checked out some of his stuff in the past, go check out The Atonement Bell, Butcher Queen. There's a bunch of stuff he's done. And obviously this new one, The Agony of Stars, is coming out very soon. So if you meet up with him at one of the Comic-Con Slice or anything else, he'll have copies of that. Hopefully by that time it's in our hands. I know I backed it, and very excited to get my hands on it. And he's been in the studio several times. Joey V, I know you've seen a lot of stuff coming out of San Diego Comic-Con. When I mentioned this, that we're going to kind of discuss it a little bit, you quickly did homework and kind of saw what were some of the things that you, because you're not as big into comic books as I am, mm-hmm. What was one of the things that excited you most, or was there something that was like, oh, how cool?
Well, I think the biggest headline of the entire con was that Black Panther announcement. Would you agree with that? You see anything bigger than that?
I mean, other than the Avengers Doomsday, which everyone's they keep ramping up the excitement for that. And I think everyone loved seeing Rick Moranis come back on stage to Hall H for the Spaceballs 2 panel.
Yeah.
He looked good, too. I was excited. But this is a big deal because obviously the death of Chadwick Boseman left such a hole in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Everyone was kind of wondering, well, how are they going to go forward with this? So it's cool to see them passing the torch. And now we've got
David Johnson.
David Johnson, I was going to say.
And he spells it real dumb. Jonsson. I believe he's British, and most people would recognize him from Alien Romulus, which was another fun entry into the Alien franchise. And then Industry, he was on Season 1, which is an HBO series about stock trading and the dirty dealings that go on with that. He's a very talented actor. I just watched him this week on Mubi, one of the streaming apps, on this movie called Wasteman. And it was a really gritty prison film. And he was a guy who was in the wrong place at the wrong time, ended up in a prison, and just is dealing with the tortures of having to deal with that, of, you know, trading things and staying alive. That's probably the hardest part of being in prison. So if you haven't seen Wasteman, check that out, and you'll see David Johnson's talent. So him being the son of Chadwick Boseman, I believe, is what it's supposed to be. Like, he's the son of T'Challa, right? And it comes out in 2028, and I guess that gives him plenty of time to get jacked, because he's not the buffest guy right now, but I'm sure once you get into the Marvel ecosystem, you got a personal trainer and then chicken and broccoli every day, so you can end up like Thor when you grow up.
Yeah, that's one of the things you've seen, that transformation. We saw it with Daniel Craig. If you see him in Layer Cake, then when you see him in Casino Royale, you get that movie training, man. I would love to be in a movie just so I could have someone train me and I could get all buff and jacked like that.
I love that Spaceballs was poking fun at the whole concept of Marvel and the way they do panels. So right there, next to the whole Doomsday, bringing out all 20 different actors, Spaceballs is having a laugh and making fun of the whole concept of these phases. And, you know, every movie has got to be the son of the younger version.
Right.
And they had some real great jokes. I would love to watch a stream of this entire panel. It sounds like it was the highlight of a lot of people's time.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of people were very pleased to see it, and it seems like it had a good reception to it. I'm bad with chats. Everyone knows this. Hello at WonderKim58. Hello to you. Hello, Steve Holman, listening tonight, watching on YouTube, I assume. I'm trying to figure out where the chats are coming. Maybe Facebook. Hello, BK on the Air down in Cartersville, Georgia. Hello to you. If you get a chance to listen to BK on the Air Saturday mornings, 10 a.m. Eastern, I believe, because I always get the time change wrong. So, BK, you can correct me if I'm wrong on that. And I want to make sure I get all the... Okay, yeah. Hello to all of you listening. There's more people than that. I can see eyeballs on us. So if you've not commented before, send us a comment. And real quick, we'll gear up here for a commercial break. If you might remember, I'm launching my Geek to Me Radio film series at Ratterman Theaters in O'Fallon. And we're starting it off with Superman from 1978. Christopher Reeve, Margot Kidder, Gene Hackman as Lex Luthor. That'll be the first in this Geek to Me Radio film series. We're doing one film every month. And I've got the first 3 planned out. From there, we'll see how it goes, how it's received. So if you kind of like the idea, come out and see these movies with me on the big screen. We're going to do trivia in the lobby beforehand. We'll have some prizes to give away, some fun stuff happening. I'll try to make it very interactive at all possible. And what I'm going to do right now, the gentleman who runs Ratterman Theaters, Tristan Ratterman, said, go ahead and give away 2 tickets to your screener of Superman. You can get the tickets for $15. And that includes your popcorn and your soda. So if you think, boy, $15 for a movie these days, that includes a popcorn and a soda as well. I always get popcorn and soda. Joey V can attest to this because I go to the bathroom 5 times during the movie that we screen because I'm usually drinking a giant soda. But popcorn, soda, and the movie, $15 Monday, August 3rd. But I've got 2 tickets to give away if you're available 7 p.m., doors will open at 6:30 because we'll do trivia beforehand, actually. But if you want to go see Superman from 1978 on the big screen with me and a bunch of other people who love superhero movies, all you have to do, first person to text the correct answer at 84126. So get your text line pulled up. 84126 is the KTRS text line. All I need to know is what actor played Superman's dad in the 1978 Superman movie. Superman's dad, his biological father, who played Jor-El in 1978 Superman starring Christopher Reeve. First person to correctly text the answer to us at 84126 will get a pair of tickets to go see Superman 1978 on the big screen at Ratterman Theaters on August 3rd. With that said, let's do a quick commercial break. We'll go ahead and take a break right now while I'm at a point, and we'll come back in just a moment. We'll talk a little bit more San Diego Comic-Con. If there is some news that you saw that was really exciting for you from San Diego Comic-Con, let us know in the chats. We'll talk about that too afterwards. Joey V is going to review The Dink on Apple TV. You're listening to Geek to Me Radio. Please stand by.
And turbo Indy cars. Scale speed up to 260 miles per hour. And when you need it most, you hit your turbo power to make the pass. Nothing else even comes close. Turbo Porsche Racers and turbo Indy cars. Only from Tyco RC. The thrill of off-road racing is coming home. It's Racing Hopper's Electric Racing. You get the jump on the competition. Your Racing Hopper blasts full bore up Monster Mountain. You dive fearlessly over the top and cut him off as you blast for the boulders. Then you squeeze him out and leave him up a creek. You don't dare back off even when you want to most, because winning off-road takes skill and guts, especially when it's Racing Hoppers. Racing Hopper's Electric Racing, new from Tyco, of course. This is the world of outlaws. Turbo Outlaws. Radio-controlled machines. The most awesome, open-wheel, action-packed, dirt racing monsters ever built. With outlaw moves and outlaw skill. From Tyco Art.
July 29th. Join in the celebration.
Hi, this is Karan Soni, and you're listening to me on Geek to Me Radio. Lucky you.
Don't call it a comeback. I've been here for years. I'm rocking my pants.
Coming back with Karan Soni from Deadpool. Joey V we're talking off air and said, Ryan Reynolds was at the Doomsday screener and, showed up in his denim Deadpool outfit. Denim Pool, I guess, was the name of the character at the time.
Well, he was wearing his Canadian tuxedo.
That's correct.
And he is a very famous, probably the best Canadian ever.
Well, John Candy would have issue with that. Maybe the greatest living Canadian. We'll put it like that, because I'm always a John Candy fan first. Want to make sure we tell you about our brand new sponsor, HW Kia of West County, 14116 Manchester Road in Manchester, Missouri. They've got a great service center. Maybe, it's summer and your car is kind of doing that thing where, gosh, like the AC is out on my car, for example. Maybe you want to get it someplace that's going to take good care of it. You might want to talk to Darren at HW Kia, make an appointment, see if their service center can get you in. Obviously, I've told you before, I've sold 2 cars to him. He's made the process incredibly easy. He's a very upstanding guy. He's going to do what's right by the customer every time. That's very important, especially, people get a reputation for being car salesmen. That's kind of a thing with lawyers, every reputation for every kind of business. But he's actually one of those guys who's going to stick by his word. He's going to do the best he can for you. I've seen him work with people. If you think, I need a new car, but I can't really afford it, go talk to Big D, Darren at HW Kia of West County. He'll probably get you financed, and you'd be surprised with the rates you end up getting. He really wants to work with you. He really wants to make sure you get into a car that's right for you. He's not going to upsell you. He's going to make sure you get what you want when you come in the door, and that's very important, especially when, you go to a mechanic or a salesperson or, anyone like that. You want to make sure you're getting a great deal. You want to make sure you can trust that person. I've worked with Darren for a while now. Great guy. I'm going to vouch for him. So take that for what you will. But if you're curious, maybe you've got a trade-in. If you're like, I could trade my old car in. It's kind of running up there and get it towards a new car. Sure, he does trade-ins as well. So buying cars, selling cars, trading in cars, whatever it might be, make him your first call. If you want to shop around first, then make him your last call. He's probably going to be the person you end up selling the car to or buying the car from because he's got great deals. Darren Woodford at HW Kia of West County. We call him Big D. You hear him here on the Heidi and Josh show all the time. 14116 Manchester Road, Manchester, Missouri, or give them a call, 636-591-2900. You'll be glad you did. Talking San Diego Comic-Con, I was excited. We were talking about Spaceballs 2 before the break. I think it made my little 80s nerd heart happy seeing him up there with Princess Vesper. We had Dark Helmet and Princess Vesper sitting side by side on the stage. And like you said, I think that seemed to be the most well-received. People were so excited to see that panel and to see Rick Moranis coming back to Hollywood after a long hiatus.
Yeah, I think that Kevin Feige maybe at some point has said that they have the Marvel Cinematic Universe planned out till 2040. And Spaceballs ran with that, and they introduced their phases. So 2028, they're coming out with Spaceballs. The Schwartz Awakens. 2029, Spaceballs, the franchise Menace. 2030, Spaceballs, Winnebago Nights. And it just keeps going, like Spaceballs Kids, Dark Helmet Origins. So it's like an even younger version of Dark Helmet. And I just love that they had a laugh at just how silly these panels are. Robert Downey Jr. comes out and he does this little Jesus pose, like, I'm back, everyone. And the audience is really going, yeah, but why? What storyline
my reaction
makes you come back as Dr. Doom? And I'm glad that we have Spaceballs to set them straight.
Yeah, no, I think it's hilarious. Now, it's, the original title, Mel Brooks said, Spaceballs 2, The Search for More Money, was the original tagline at the end of the first Spaceballs. So I think all these titles, that's very Mel Brooks.
Yeah, it's like he was making fun of Star Wars, but he got his blessing from George Lucas to make the movie as long as he didn't make action figures. And then that becomes a big plot point of the movie is it's all about merchandising. And, you can probably buy a Dark Helmet popcorn bucket when this one comes out.
No doubt. I'm sure. I can't wait to see if they. I'm not sure if that's going to hold up. Did the Disney deal that George Lucas did to sell Star Wars, did that negate his previous commitment with Mel Brooks? I'm not sure what'll happen there. If that's just we'll never ever get Spaceballs action figures or a Winnebago playset or anything like that. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. We deserve it.
We do.
I had a Super Van City when I was growing up. That was the micro machines that would open up, and it had bridges and highways and car washes. And I think they could just slap some new stickers on those and print some new ones. Like with the Ninja Turtles, they just had those old Playmates molds. And they remade all those toys and sold them to us again for double the price. Yeah,
Kenner was notorious with that. Kenner would take figures and they would, swap the arms and legs out and put them on the different bodies and sell it as a brand new action figure. They've done that for quite a while.
They sold action figures for Star Wars before they even had the action figures ready.
That's right.
It was just an empty box with a placeholder. Like, eventually, you'll have these.
Yeah, and I think Chef Liz told me that she found hers. She actually had the mail-away thing that had the diorama with all the holes for the figures to stand on. Mm-hmm. She found hers, and she said, I didn't even know I had this anymore, and she was very excited.
Wonderful.
But another thing, I know your reaction to this cracked me up. I thought Johnny Depp, who I think is a brilliant actor, he was there in full costume as the character of Ebenezer Scrooge to promote the new movie that's coming out in December, Ebenezer. I said, oh, how cool was it? And you just scoffed. You were having none of this.
I remember seeing the Jim Carrey one just a couple years ago, right? No, I bet it was like 15 years ago that the Jim Carrey one where he played every one with the Uncanny Valley CGI that they borrowed from Polar Express. So, if we all have a soft place in our heart for Dickens and especially Muppets, then why not keep making it, like you said, every 5 years, there's probably going to be another Christmas Carol that goes mainstream into the theaters. I don't think they have to pay royalties for that, so why not, right?
Yeah, I'm sure by now all the Dickens stuff is in a trust or something like that, and it's public domain. Popeye's public domain, so I'm sure Charles Dickens and Ebenezer Scrooge are as well.
Yeah, if there's room for Bill Murray, then maybe they can do some sort of Spider-Man pointing at each other meme like they did, Jim Carrey.
Patrick Stewart.
All of them just oh my goodness, Michael Caine.
They what do they call it? The confluence of Scrooges, or the like they had the Council of Kangs. Well, the Council of Scrooges. So another Marvel Cinematic Universe set up with.
We got to fix the
Christmas.
Dickens timeline.
And the other one, obviously, we talked about David Johnson as Black Panther, the new T'Challa. I was surprised Ryan Gosling was announced as Ghost Rider. He is the new Johnny Blaze specifically. He's not Robbie Reyes. He's not Danny Ketch, who was my Ghost Rider growing up. He's the original, not the original because it's not the Western one, but he's Johnny Blaze as the new Ghost Rider. And I think it wasn't immediately my first choice when I think of Johnny Blaze, but Ryan Gosling seems to be one of those people who are one of those actors who people will accept in just about anything.
Now, this isn't the PBS show Ghost Rider where there was these kid detectives that were trying to solve mysteries with the help of a ghost, and it was always like, look for the blank letters, and whichever one has the most, it's the letter E. Because I remember watching that show after school. Like, it was Wishbone and Lamb Chop and Ghost Rider. You're saying it's a different version. Different,
completely. This is the Marvel thing. You might remember the Nicolas Cage version.
Oh, yes, Nicolas Cage. Yeah. He had a real bad headache, I remember, or something. His head was on fire.
Yep.
There's got to be a medicine for that.
Headache, yeah, but he's not what I would originally think of for this role. He's not the first actor that jumped out to me. And if he was a little younger, if he was like 10 years younger, I'd say make him Danny Ketch. But that's my bias of when I grew up and started to read comic books. Johnny Blaze wasn't Ghost Rider anymore. Danny Ketch became the new Ghost Rider. I'm sure there's a lot of people out there who, grew up. Danny Ketch was long gone, and Robbie Reyes in his fire car, who we got on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., played by Diego Luna, was their Ghost Rider. So it's just, I'm interesting, too, if they will somehow work that character in, the Diego Luna's character, Ghost Rider, into this new cinematic universe somehow, especially since they are bringing in, like, Tobey Maguire's set to show up in Doomsday and things like that. I wonder how they're going to work that.
Ghost Rider just sells itself. As a little kid looking at the spinner rack at Quick Trip, if I saw a Ghost Rider comic there, I just grabbed it because he looked cool. I believe I have a Ghost Rider 2099, and I was not following any plots. I just said, give me that one, Dad, and he bought it for me. So it's weird that, I don't know, Nicolas Cage killed it or whoever wrote those movies, because even the poster just made you want to go see it.
Yeah. The second one, I don't recall if I saw the second one or not, but I know it got horrible reviews. I like the first one well enough. I'm actually starting, for anyone who's following me on Letterboxd probably already knows, I'm starting a rewatch of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. As of this past week, I started with Iron Man, and I'm going through in theatrical release order in case anyone's wondering. And I just tonight, I watched the Captain America First Avenger. So before I came to the studio, which is why I didn't get a chance to watch the Dink, because I had to get my other movie in.
Was he running around the Lincoln Memorial reflecting pool?
That's the second one. That's Winter
Okay.
Soldier, yeah.
Hopefully they have that fixed. I feel like it's drained right now, and by the time you get there, I don't know if they have fences around it and guards.
Well, they said Hydra evidently is cutting the liner. They're taking box cutters to the liner. It's Hydra's doing. They don't want the Lincoln Memorial to look good. It's horrible. And I think the other thing we talked about, too, that I was excited about was the new Blade Runner 2099. Anyone who knows me, Blade Runner is my favorite sci-fi movie of all time. Love the original. I've got the big collector's disc that has the director's cut, the theatrical release, the one without Harrison Ford's voiceover, and 5 different versions of the movie. It's got the little die-cast car. Love, love, love the first Blade Runner. And I really enjoyed Blade Runner 2049, again, with Ryan Gosling. It was well done. It stayed in that same aesthetic that was given to us in the first one by Ridley Scott. I think Denis Villeneuve. I'm gonna try that again. Denis Villeneuve did a great. I still didn't do it right. You know who I'm talking about. The director who did the second one.
He's French, but it's Dennis, but he doesn't say it like that.
Right? No, he says Denis. I know.
He went to a college, Villanova.
Villanova. There we go. Something like that. Anyway, I enjoyed it a lot, so I'm excited. And when I first saw this was coming out, I didn't pay close attention. After seeing this coverage at SDCC, it's a series, not a movie, which is a little bit of a letdown, but it's also got Michelle Yeoh, so I'm in 100%. Yeah,
it's one of those movies like The Shining and Dr. Sleep where the sequel holds up and it actually is more rich if you've seen them both, and I am really excited to see what they can do with this. I'm always a fan of movies. I feel like movies are remembered forever, and if you win an Oscar, it means more than an Emmy, but I think it's only 9 episodes or so I'll probably make space for this TV show.
Good.
And if it has a big enough budget, then it should look pretty. And my girl, she's a big fan of the Cyberpunk video game. And so I think this will be a good thing for us to watch together. Just that whole aesthetic of the neon lights with the reflecting roads because it just rained, and the Japanese streets where everything's just so crowded. That sort of thing just looks cool.
Yeah, no, the aesthetic is always good. And they, like I said, they nailed it in Blade Runner 2049 as well. Let's see. At Irish Mom 420 says Team Scrooge. Hashtag Team Scrooge. So Irish Mom 420 is excited. Olivia Miller 1388. I love Joey V jokes about Goober and the Ghost Chasers. So I guess Olivia Miller is obviously a fan of the Ghost Riders as well that you were mentioning. I don't recall a female Ghost Rider. I remember there was a What If comic where Barbara Catch became Ghost Rider instead of Danny. So I'm not sure if that's what you're referring to, Olivia Miller, or if it's something else that I missed. Maybe I overlooked it and there was a mini series with a female Ghost Rider. But you can correct me if I am wrong on that.
If this Blade Runner show ends up being good, it'll be a replican instead of a replicant.
See, that's clever too.
Yeah.
See, that's why people like Olivia like your jokes, and they're listening mostly for you and your movie reviews, which we're going to get to. We're going to talk about the Dink coming up here too. I'm going to do something a little out of character. I'm going to do a live read before we go to commercial break.
Never been done.
I know. This is going to be a little weird for me too, but we're going to try it. And I want to make sure we tell you about the Greater St. Charles Convention and Visitors Bureau. I was just down on Main Street having lunch on Saturday with someone. I'll tell you more about this as things develop. It's very exciting, though. Something that's being kind of highlighting Christmas traditions and the city of St. Charles in general, which is always a great thing. If you have not ever been to St. Charles, what are you waiting for? There's not a bad time. I know it's hot right now. People still got to get out. You still got to walk the dog. People still want to exercise, jog, ride the bike, throw the Frisbee around. And it's nice at night when things start to cool down a little bit, or first thing in the morning. You want to get that hit of sunlight and get a cup of coffee. Grab a cup of coffee from one of the great vendors up and down historic North and South Main Street, and then go take a walk in Frontier Park before the heat really hits. We're supposed to get a little bit of a break, I think, this upcoming weekend from the heat. No better time to get out there and enjoy the outdoors, whether you're just kind of wanting to go along the cobblestone streets, check out the historical markers, spend some time in Frontier Park, or maybe visit one of the many, many, many independent shops and restaurants that make up North and South Main. Not a bad time to be had. Start your trip at the website discoverstcharles.com. SDCC.com. You can use the website to find new places to eat, new places to shop, new things to do while you're there. Maybe one of the many, many festivals or events they've got going on, like the aforementioned Christmas traditions or Legends and Lanterns or Once Upon a Valentine's Day. They have their ice sculpting days, food truck days in Frontier Park, tartan days, all sorts of stuff. There's always something happening. It's got that atmosphere, that vibe, that riz, as the kids say, that Historic Main Street always offers. And you can find a place to stay. If you're not in the greater St. Louis area, maybe you're listening on one of the coasts, maybe you're down in Newport, maybe you're up in Minnesota, Michigan. I was trying to think of a city. It didn't come to me right off. Michigan, someplace up there north. Maybe you're up in Maine. You want to take a trip, see someplace new. It's on the bucket list to travel someplace new and you haven't done it yet. Lots of hotels, bed and breakfasts, campgrounds, RV parks, and more. Plan your trip at the website. Start there. DiscoverStCharles.com is that website. DiscoverStCharles.com. As we always say, it's an historically good time. Let's go ahead and take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back. We're going to talk a little bit more San Diego Comic-Con, and then we're going to get into Joey V's review. Joey V's, I don't know what's wrong with me today. I haven't had anything to drink in weeks. Joey V's review of the Dink. You're listening to Geeks Me Radio. Please stand by.
Button. Upsy baby starting to stand. She gets up by herself now. She looks so proud. Let's give her a hand.
That's my baby.
Up, Upsy baby.
Upsy baby, the doll that stands up. She's new from
Attention all Ghostbusters. Be on the lookout for haunted humans. Wanted, Granny Gross. She's no sweet old lady. Wanted, Tombstone Tackle. He's no hero. Wanted, Ex-Cop. He's not on your side. To catch these ghosts, you need the real Ghostbusters. There's Peter, Egon, Winston, Ray. Each sold separately. They're running out fast.
I got a wazoo, I'm gonna snuggle.
Name's Hippopotamus.
Cuddly as can be, 'cause she's part hippo and part bunny. I got a wazoo, I'm gonna snuggle.
Name's Bumbleye.
Cute as he can be, 'cause he's part lion and part...
Eddie at Fast Eddie's Bon Air.
This is Kevin Conroy, the voice of Batman. You're listening to Geek to Me Radio.
Welcome back to the show, Geeks Me Radio, heard here every Sunday night on the Big 550 KTRS. I'm your host, James Enstall. That's Joey V, my executive producer across the board from me. And we are talking SDCC. We had Jim Ousley on earlier. Thank you, Jim, for jumping on the air with us. If you have a favorite thing that you're most excited about, feel free to leave it for us in the chats. I'm trying to keep an eye on them, I promise. And we can talk about that as well. You can also text us on the KTRS text lines at 84126. Just put your name and where you're from, what part of town, and your comment about San Diego Comic-Con, and we'll get to it as quickly as we can. There wasn't the vibe of the merchandise. I know we talked a little bit about Jim Ousley with him saying, is it a recession indicator? I used to get a bunch of emails and pushes from the big toy companies like Hasbro will send me emails in advance saying, hey, here's some of the new stuff in our San Diego Comic-Con exclusives we're dropping. The toy companies and the comic book companies usually do this. I got very few emails about that stuff. And I know that's not really your world, but I think it's interesting that we didn't get a big San Diego Comic-Con exclusive like last year. They did the Cold Slither 4-pack. So it's the Dreadnoks from G.I. Joe in this cool like theater 4-pack of a box, an exclusive San Diego Comic-Con thing that you could get at the Hasbro booth. And I didn't really see people on my social media either going on about, hey, Funko's got a brand new San Diego Comic-Con exclusive of this. Mattel didn't do anything big that I saw anyway. And I'm just not sure if that's a recession indicator, if that's them kind of pulling back. But a lot of people were saying San Diego Comic-Con kind of lost a little bit of its luster in the past couple of years. They've seen a slow just decline as of what we used to get back in the heyday pre-pandemic.
I've never been to San Diego Comic-Con, so I know that if I ever went, it would be overwhelming. But reading some of the posts, it did seem like I was seeing a bunch of negative Nancys.
Yeah.
Not to call out Nancy, but she was being real negative today. And the big thing that people were mentioning was a lack of off-site experiences. And that must mean that everything around San Diego Comic-Con is a bunch of fields. So it's not tightly packed like LA, like I'm imagining. It's lots of open area, and there would be more experiences that you could do for free and have fun, get a photo op, try a new food flavor, something like that. And it seemed like no one was really out in the field, and that really bummed some people out. And I think, the more you can do at a Comic-Con to spread out the traffic, that helps with James's agoraphobia. And I guess Adult Swim was there, but they had the same stuff from last year, and maybe there was some sort of FX American Horror Story thing, but usually it's a lot more packed. And I am a big fan of having free things to do instead of nickel and diming everyone. But if things can be an email, maybe that's the marketing department's getting cut, where they say, why do we have to set up this whole activation in 90-degree weather just so we can get some social media posts out of these fans? Let's just, do something else and save our time with the Comic-Con. But I can't imagine that everyone left unhappy. It sounds like it is just a nerd's playground, and we would have fun. And I hope Jim Ousley pays for your ticket like he said he was going to do. I heard him say that.
I didn't hear that, but maybe if you heard it, if you lie, I'll swear to it.
Apparently, there's even like a hotel lottery where you don't even know what hotel you're going to get, but then you end up with one, and then you are lucky if you stay at the Omni across the street or something. But there's also a great trolley system that gets people back and forth. So I bet you it's well run and fun no matter what.
Yeah, it seems to be. I don't think it's anything with the running of the convention itself, because as you and I talked about, this is an established institution, which I think you just said the mayor said it's going to be the headquarters for Comic-Con 2030.
They've come to an agreement that San Diego is staying put. It's not moving and seceding to Canada or any. No, the con is staying in San Diego, which if it left, then another con would just fill its place for that exact same time. The convention would happen whether it's Comic-Con International LLC or not, and maybe it'll revert back to its roots of Artist Alley being the main focus.
Yeah, and not a pop culture hub for everything TV and movie and industry related. But I think part of that is, and we talked about this in a previous episode a month or two ago when Fan Expo Anaheim came through, and people said, boy, as an attendee, it was great because I was there. I had FaceTime in front of, the guests. I was able to talk to the people who they brought in. But the vendors and the people who were there complained. It's like, man, no one's here. I'm not making any money. Vendors were complaining they lost money. And you look at the glut of these similar types of conventions. San Diego Comic-Con, there's no competing with. They're the big dog on the block, obviously. But there's a lot of conventions the couple weeks before, and there are going to be some the couple weeks after. And I think it's not necessarily a recession indicator, but just the fact that people do have to be a little bit more picky with their money. If you've got a Comic-Con in California every other week, you're going to kind of have to pick and choose what you're going to and what you're spending. It's not like 20 years ago when San Diego Comic-Con was it, and you might have, Stan Lee's special Comic-Con that he did out in LA starting in the early 2000s, I think, or maybe the mid 2000s. But I think that's one of the things. It's just there's so many. It's oversaturation.
And you have to book these things years in advance. And how do you expect to have your finger on the pulse of pop culture that far in advance? When we went to the big corporate St. Louis Comic-Con that was here, I had never heard of this thing called Has Been Hotel. And they were in the main convention hall, and it was full. Every single seat was full. And I just came from a panel that had some of the stars from Lord of the Rings. And it was a smaller room, not that many people in there, but everyone was happy to hear them. But wow, just looking at the difference in numbers, it's wild. And I had heard that San Diego Comic-Con, had this Avatar, the animated series panel, and then they showed the movie. There's this 3-part animated movie that they're putting out, and they showed the first one, and it's called Avatar Aang. I guess that's one of the characters because I'm an idiot. And 4,000 people were in there watching the same movie, and they loved it.
Man.
And we just got to be prepared for Superman at Ratterman on August 3rd because it could be wild. It could be 4,000 people trying to come to your screening.
We can only hope, yeah. If you, and I have to go back through the chats because I made the question. I didn't even look to see if anyone responded with the answer to that. We do have someone from the 314 area code saying, Rick Moranis at Comic-Con was the only awesome thing. And Danhausen was there, too. Oh, it's our friend Joe T. Sturdy. The T is for trivia. So I guess Joe is a wrestling guy. He likes Danhausen.
That does remind me that I didn't see a lot of big headline news about things, but I am subscribed on Reddit to a bunch of subreddits. And one of them is action figures, and specifically, NECA always puts out a bunch of big things, and then the wrestling people put out a bunch of big things. So I did see that NECA is putting all the Ninja Turtle stuff aside. They don't have the license anymore because they were going hard on Ninja Turtles. Every single character, even Danny from Ninja Turtles 1 had his own action figure. And now they're going to focus back on horror, which people are really excited about. So back to Alien and Predator and Jason, and that's a lot of fun. And then the wrestling stuff, I saw Danhausen has a couple of great action figures coming out, and a very special Stone Cold Steve Austin where he's dressed up as a nurse because I guess there was a very specific episode of Raw back in 1998 where he was dressed up as a nurse and then he beat up Vince McMahon, and now there's going to be an action figure of it.
Huh.
So if you're in these subreddits, you were seeing updates like that. But when I scroll through, let's say, AV Club, and I look for all the big headlines for San Diego Comic-Con, it's just the Marvel stuff, really. Spaceball and Marvels is all they were talking about. And I had to dig deep to see stuff like, there's a Matchbox Cars movie with John Cena coming out. So that's cool. I'm excited to see how that turns out. And then there's a Sandlot TV show called Dugout Dads. There's a Carrie TV show where the girl gets bullied, but it's in the modern day. So it's like cyberbullying with Carrie. So I guess if, she still has those superpowers to kill her enemies, that'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But it was hard to even find those little bits of information unless you were plugged in.
Yeah, I stumbled across it today, and it was on accident because everyone knows I'm trying to stay away from trailers. But I did see part of the Carrie trailer, and Mike Flanagan just got the magic touch with horror right now. So
Him and Stephen King, they're best buds.
So I'm waiting to see. I kind of held off. I'm like, I don't want to watch this whole thing. But as soon as Mike Flanagan's name's attached, I'm in. And I did see that the Carrie trailer dropped at San Diego Comic-Con as well. So that's very exciting. So that's our San Diego Comic-Con, what we had to say about it. If you went to it, congratulations. Hope you had a great time, and don't let anything negative that we heard impact you of anything. Hopefully you didn't think there was anything wrong. Hopefully you got all the exclusives you wanted and got to meet all the people you did and got your artists and writers to sign your stuff for you and had a great time at San Diego Comic-Con. I'm sure they're going to do it again next year. It's all the way to 2030. So,
and you're going to Terrificon. You're probably going to bring back some great interviews.
Hopefully so. Yeah, that's the idea. We're going to have our friend Dietrich Bader, who we've had on, is going to be up there. Going to talk to our friend Rob Paulson, who will be there, along with the entire voice cast of the 85 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is going to be there.
There was a bunch of animation announcements too that I had to look for. I guess they're just bringing back the old stuff that we all love. Futurama getting another season or something like that.
Interview the Vampire, I know it's not animated, but I think they announced the season 4 they're getting. So it must be doing really well. I haven't started that one yet because I love that movie, and I'm very hesitant to let the series impact my love of the movie.
I feel like there's other stuff that we always talk about, like maybe Animaniacs was getting another season. I have to look it up, but there was the classics are getting movies or something like that.
The more nostalgia, the better, as I've always said. Let's go ahead and take one last break here before we come back to Joey V's movie review of. Is it Dink or The Dink?
The Dink. Also, let's see. Futurama's getting some movies, and then there we go. Yeah, The Dink. It's all about pickleball. That's a move in pickleball where you get really close to the net and you just kind of dink it over.
Pop it over. Okay. So we'll hear Joey V's review of that. Stick around. You're listening to Geek to Me Radio on the Big 550 KTRS. Please stand by.
From Hasbro.
And now, another Tycho Superblocks adventure. The dam has broken, the road's out, the town's in danger. So you grab your Tycho Superblocks and quickly build a bulldozer, a backhoe, a dump truck, the giant cranes, and the construction copter. Rushing to the scene, you clear the road, you save the town. You did it! Another great adventure with Tycho Superblocks. They work with Lego too. Tycho Superblocks, Road Builder Adventure Series. 9 building sets, each sold separately. New only from Tycho.
I know a boy, his name is Zach. He loves...
Hey everybody, it's Paul Sun Hyung Lee. I play Appa on Kim's Convenience and Captain Carson Tava on The Mandalorian, and I am thrilled to be here on Geek to Me Radio. Okay, see you.
Hopefully you got out and saw Mandalorian and Grogu at the theater, featuring Paul Sun Hyung Lee. Fantastic guy. I was so excited to have him on. I loved Kim's Convenience. And I love every time I see him show up in a Star Wars, whether it's The Mandalorian or one of the Star Wars movies or series. It's great to see him. He's such an exciting guy. He's a fan himself, and he does unboxings on his channel. You can go check him out. I think it's The Bitter Asian, his YouTube channel, and he unboxes like stuff that he buys himself. like Star Wars toys, Star Trek things. He's a fan. It's kind of cool to see that someone who's made it in the big time, who's a fan themselves. That's kind of cool. So we want to make sure we tell you about our official comic book sponsor, Bugs Comics and Games. If you have a chance to get out there and check out his new comics every Wednesday. Sometimes, Wednesday, I can't get out there. I want to get the new comics, but they might be sold out. When you go in, whatever day you go in, start a pull list. Say, hey, Larry, I want to make sure I don't ever miss Absolute Batman. I want to make sure I'm continuing to get Infernal Hulk and World's Finest. And I want to make sure the Dork is on my pull list and the new Energon Universe G.I. Joe series by Joshua Williamson. He can put those on a pull list. That way, if you're not able to get there Wednesday, Thursday, if you come in the next week, those comics from the previous week are put aside for you, near mint condition, safe and sound in a little cubby, waiting for you. You want to worry about missing out or having an issue sell out from underneath you. You're all set. You're covered. And then, little extra, join the Avengers Club. That way you start saving money on your weekly pulls, your back issues, and other stuff you'll buy at the store. I always say it's not a real comic book store if they don't have back issues. He's got long boxes galore of every comic going all the way back. Golden Age, Silver Age, Bronze Age, Copper Age, new stuff, modern stuff, 50-cent books, $1 books, $2 books, $5 books, ranging all the way up to the more pricey ones that he's got in his display case or behind the counter on the wall. It's just kind of cool to go in and browse. These brick and mortar stores, when they're gone, you're going to miss them. We felt this way about theaters during the pandemic. People are, I miss the malls. I see Gen Xers complaining all the time. I miss the malls. Go to these stores. Go support your brick and mortar stores, because when they go away, you'll be like, I should have done that. That's why I say go see movies in theater and go to Bugs Comics. It's a local comic book store, Bryan Road in O'Fallon, Missouri, right there from either Highway 70 or from 364. Go out and say you heard about it on Geek to Me Radio. Buy a couple of comics to support a local business and support these brick and mortar stores that you don't want to have. You don't want to buy your comic books on Amazon, or worse yet, get them online where you can't physically hold them in your hand. Everything's digital. And as we saw with Sony, they can take them away just like that. So get your physical comic books and buy them from someone who's been doing this for a long time. Larry is super knowledgeable. If you've got a question about comic books, ask Larry. Follow him on Instagram and Facebook as well, Bugs Comics and Games. Very proud to have them as the official comic book sponsor here on Geek to Me Radio. Now then, with all that out of the way, Apple TV, The Dink, came out July the 22nd. Is that
this
right?
weekend. Just came out.
Just came out. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought it came out. I thought you got a screener a little earlier.
I did.
You
because
did, okay.
the movie came out on Friday, I didn't want to get up at 2 a.m. to watch it on Apple. So I asked for the screener a week ago so I could review it on another station and then be ready for you.
And I'm excited because I love Jake Johnston from New Girl. Mm-hmm. This also has Ed Harris in it, I believe.
Yeah, famous astronaut,
good
Ed
cast.
Harris.
Exactly. Great cast. So what were your thoughts?
Well, here's the plot to The Dink. Desperate to save a struggling country club and earn his father's respect, a washed-up tennis pro is compelled to break a sacred vow and do the unthinkable, play pickleball. And James, I want to know, are you a fan of pickleball?
I have never played. Bill Cleveland, who used to do Bill Cleveland's Trivia Night here on KTRS, loves playing pickleball. He was ahead of the curve. He was talking about this 10, 12 years ago. Hey, I started playing pickleball at a local place up here, and I swear to God, ladies and gentlemen, that's my Bill Cleveland impression. He was played up in Kirkwood.
I've seen his photos. He's gone to the very first pickleball court where the game was invented.
So, Bill Cleveland, if you're listening, you were far ahead of the curve, and I will be willing to say I was wrong, thinking it would never catch on, because obviously it has. They've even made a movie about it now.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of pickleball. I'm not a fanatic. Like,
you play really well, or you?
Anyone can play it. That's what's so fun. Anyone can start and learn it and then know the rules and be able to play, because it's better to play with doubles if it's your first time so that you don't have to cover as much court. Mm-hmm. But a pickleball court is half the size, basically, of a tennis court. Okay. So it's a little bit easier. But my girl, Erica, you've met her. She's nice. Her aunt is a fanatic.
Really?
She has actually taken lessons. She's paid money at the Missouri Athletic Club to take lessons. And then also she has that condo in Florida that we go to sometimes, and they have a pickleball court right there at the condo. And she found out the hard way you're supposed to have special shoes for these courts.
Gosh.
And she ate S and had to go to the emergency room, and she had a black eye. Whole side of her body was bruised. So if you didn't know, now you know now. You need special shoes to play on the court. I didn't even know. I guess when
like track shoes with spikes, or what are the shoes?
Something like, I'll have to look it up. I've played tennis just in dress shoes before and been fine, so I don't know. I guess she just has so much energy. She's trying to blast off to get towards that pickleball, and then she slipped out underneath her own feet. And so I just want to say, if you ever get a chance to play with Aunt Christy and Uncle Larry, you'll love it. They're very good teachers. They get up too early. It's my vacation. I don't want to get up at 9 a.m., Aunt Christy, okay? I'm sleeping until noon, and then I'll catch you on the court later, in case she's listening. I did ask her about her story about how she got the black eye, and she said it wasn't from Uncle Larry. It was from falling on the court.
Good to know.
Now, this plot is very generic plot that you'll see in a lot of comedy films. They actually have a term for it, this trope. It's called We Have to Save the Orphanage. And I think that is popularized by the movie The Blues Brothers, because they literally have to save the orphanage. But some other examples would be like Animal House, Revenge of the Nerds. They have to save the frat. This is pretty much an identical movie to Happy Gilmore. Just everything you picture in Happy Gilmore, this happens in this movie as well.
Okay.
But they have to save Grandma's house in that one. And Ernest Goes to Camp, got to save the camp. Empire Records, we got to save the record store.
Snowball Express, have to save the hotel.
Yeah, so you know exactly what you're getting. But that's not exactly a bad thing, because I love Happy Gilmore, and I watched it all the time. So it being a complete copy of Happy Gilmore doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be a bad thing. And I've noticed something with this lead, Jake Johnson. I think he's taken the Will Ferrell route of making a sports movie about everything. If you can name any sports movie that Will Ferrell has done, I'll give you one free kiss towards the camera. Put it in the chat. But, of course, James, can you think of a Will Ferrell sports movie?
Well, obviously, I would have to say the one he did, the basketball movie, which now the name of the movie is escaping me.
Semi-pro?
Semi-pro. So.
Ice skating?
Oh, yeah, Blades of Glory.
Blades
That's
of
right.
Glory. Race car driver?
Talladega. See, I wouldn't say that's a sport. I always argue.
It's rubbing and racing.
I know people are going to at me in the comments, but, if you are a NASCAR fan, God bless you. But I don't think those people, like they say, oh, I'm an athlete. No, you make a left turn for an extended period of time. I get it's hot in that car, but you're not an athlete. That's not a sport.
The spotter is just in your go left, keep going left, left again. Basketball, you said. Soccer, kicking and screaming.
I didn't see that one.
And then right now on Netflix, Will Ferrell is back.
Tennis movie, isn't it?
He's doing golf.
Golf, okay.
He's got a TV show about golf called The Hawk. So I'm going to give some just free sports movies that they can take advantage of. Will Ferrell, Jake Johnson, they want to do a movie. Here are some untapped sports. We got cornhole, and I would call that one
go a couple different ways.
Bag, because Jake Johnson was in the movie about tag, and that one was called Tag.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then Spider-Man. Jake Johnson is a voice in Spider-Man.
He's the Peter Parker in the Into the Spider-Verse movie.
And that's about parkour.
Okay,
yeah.
I'll allow it.
Yeah, so obviously he's just on a sports run. So disc golf, we could do a movie called Bangin' Chains. That's the beautiful sound it makes when you make it in.
Oh.
And then curling. I don't think there's a curling movie out there. Sweeping with the Enemy is my name for that one.
Oh, see, that's clever.
We get
'Cause you
Julia
got the little
Roberts.
people with the brushes.
So now that Jake Johnson has done like 2 sports movies, and now he's doing this third one with the Dink, I don't know if he's just following in Will Ferrell's footsteps. He's gone the improv route. That's how he came up in the business, just like Will Ferrell.
They could make a sequel to Big Lebowski for a bowling sports movie. He's young enough to play, the young dude.
Young dude. All the young dudes.
Call it
David
young
Bowie.
dude.
I love that. Now, the Dink, there's, like you said, a lot of really funny people. We got Mary Steenburgen. She's married to Ted Danson, so they're just a funny couple in general. Patton Oswalt, Chris Parnell, Chloe Feynman, Ed Harris. Not that funny usually. But what he says in the movie is what's really funny, because he's playing it very straight. So they feed him just
straight man.
Very silly lines. And the director is Josh Greenbaum. He directed The Dink. One of my favorite movies of all time is Barb and Star Go to Vista Del Mar. And that is a comedy that a lot of people haven't seen, but I love that movie. So I had kind of high expectations. And the first hour of this hour and 40 minutes of The Dink it's so silly, it's absurd, it's off the wall. And then 40 minutes left, it just becomes generic sports movie. And it takes a turn right when the product placement comes in for country music. For some reason, Mary Steenburgen is obsessed with country. She sends a playlist to Jake Johnson, and he listens to it. And it's no country song that you would ever care about, but he starts crying. Like if they had gone 90s country with it, like if it was George Strait or something.
Yeah.
If it was check yes or no, if you love me, won't you be my friend? Like if it was that song, I'd have teared up. But it's some modern 2000.
Don't Take the Girl by Tim McGraw.
Yeah, it's some modern 2026 Scotty McCreery song. I'm like, is this just a tie-in for Apple Music? And then when it gets to the big showdown, because all these sports movies have showdowns, the Dink just plays it straight. It's exactly what you think, and it doesn't look that beautiful on camera either, because the court is so small. Like
Yeah,
a tennis
yeah,
movie
yeah.
like Challengers, there's a lot of tension going back and forth. But with the Dink, it's just, they're standing still most of the time. So I'd say that it's a 2.5 out of 5-star movie because it's right down the middle. It's very funny at the beginning, and then it gets a little generic at the end. There's a couple celebrity athletes that are in it. One, he has a cameo, and it's genius what they do with him. I'm not going to spoil the cameo. And then one is like the main star of the movie, and he is a horrible actor. And he drives the entire plot. And I just think, oh, man, if they had to pick somebody with more charm, more charisma, given them better script to work with, it would have worked out. So if it's already on your screen, if you already own Apple TV, if you're already subscribed, why not watch it? And I think it's the very last appearance of the woman who plays Charlie's mom in It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. She was also Miss Yvonne in Pee-wee's Playhouse.
Okay.
The most beautiful woman in all of Puppetland. I forget her real name, but she passed away last year. Miss Yvonne passed away, and so this is her last movie. And I think that if you're a fan of It's Always Sunny, you will enjoy The Dink. And she's great at trash talking. That's something that you find with pickleball is there's always like 60, 70-year-old women out there, and they have learned to trash talk, and that's always fun seeing what they give these characters to say. And I know that you have Apple TV, and you'll probably watch it because you have it.
Yeah, I wanted to watch it anyway. Like I said, I do like Jake Johnson. I like Mary Steenburgen. The cast seems really cool. And now I'm going into it with modified expectations, too, that you've kind of put it I was thinking, gosh, this cast and everything kind of dropped it down, so I'll probably enjoy it more knowing I'm not going to get my hopes up too high.
I know you love Shrinking. I think it's that same sort of humor. I call it like a lackadaisical comedy. Like it's not rapid fire. They kind of take their time, and the jokes come eventually. And so if you enjoy Shrinking, you'll probably find this funny as well.
Okay.
Check out The Dink. Why not?
Yeah, 2.5 out of 5 stars, you say.
Yeah.
On Apple TV. There's Joey V's review of The Dink. Want to make sure we invite you once again to see Superman 1978 on the big screen at Ratterman Theaters. You can go to Ratterman Theaters, and it's spelled all fancy in French. Theaters, R-E-S, on the end, .com. You can get your tickets there. It's online if you want to check it out and buy your tickets there. But tickets will be available at the door. I believe the showtime is 7 o'clock. I said 6:30 earlier. You probably want to get there around 6 because we're going to start trivia and have some games and everything. We'll give some prizes away as well. So you get some Superman swag before you even go in to see the movie. $15 get you the drink, the popcorn, and the admission. So it's $15. Come out and support me at my first ever. I'm very nervous about it, so the more friendly faces I can see, the better. If I've not met you before, it'd be great to meet listeners. If you want to come out and see Superman on the big screen, the OG Superman. So it's going to be really cool to see it with a bunch of people. And we will do some trivia and things like that. Superman related, not just to the movie, but Superman in general. So if you're a fan of the animated series or Smallville or whatever else it might be, the comic books will have some trivia that's going to kind of check all those boxes. I'm very excited.
It's showing 7:30 on the RattermanTheaters.com website. And I see that your trivia question has been answered in the Facebook chat.
In the Facebook?
Yeah,
we'll go back
Steven actually had the correct answer.
Stephen Holman. Yep, Marlon Brando played Jor-El, Superman's dad in the 1978 Superman. That's correct. So Steve Holman will get the information for you on how to get those tickets for Superman 1978. You'll get a pair of tickets to come see it with me on the big screen, 7:30 on August the 3rd. And tickets will still be available if you'd like to come out and support me in this film series that I'm trying to do. If it goes well, we'll keep doing it. And we've got a lot of films kind of already in mind for what I'd like to do going forward, and hopefully some surprises along the way that'll keep everyone engaged. So I appreciate your support. Thanks for listening to the show as well. I will be at Terrificon August 7th through the 9th. So on the 9th, we're going to have a pre-recorded show that I've got some cool stuff lined up for you, though. We're probably going to have, that's when I can drop my interview with the Super Troopers cast. We'll have that. Plus, obviously, we're going to have my review of obsession-related movies that we recorded back a while ago with Pete Holcomb, who works on the boards for my show when I'm out of town. We recorded that, and we're going to also, next Sunday, Maria Canals-Barrera is going to join us August the 2nd. So tune in right here, 9 o'clock Central, to hear Maria Canals-Barrera. We're going to talk about Camp Rock 3. She had a great story about it. One of the celebrities who I think is one of the kindest human beings in the world who helped get her into the business and launch her career. We'll talk about that as well. So that's going to do it from us here at KTRS. Thank you to Joey V for not only making the show sound and look as good as it does, but for giving us his thoughts and reviews on The Dink. You can check that out on Apple TV. And if you want to, you can follow Joey V and I both on our movies on, now I've forgotten the name of the app.
Letterboxd.
Thank you. And you can check out all the stuff we're doing that. So we'll talk to you next week with Maria Canals-Barrera. And until then, my friends,
It's not in the way you watch iZombie. It's not in the way you watch The Flash. It's not in the way you love Sky.
The Big 550 KTRS St. Louis.
Multiple people have been shot in gunfire near Seattle's iconic Space Needle. The Seattle Center was hosting a food festival.